This is a special collection of some of the scariest creepypastas and horror stories I've read about Roblox. The story times will be in the pinned comment and description below, so please enjoy. I must make this clear now before something happens to me, before it finds out I'm leaking this information to the public. I work in the Roblox Corporation. Well, I used to work there. There is very limited information I can give out in a small amount of time regarding certain events pertaining to Roblox. You've probably noticed by now that the Roblox logo has changed from red to gray to black. Now, before you say something stupid about the emo face theory or the fact that Roblox is dying, well, that's actually the reason. Roblox is dying, but not because of the reason you're thinking. This all started months prior, even before Arthro was an idea. In 2007, during the early phases of Roblox, everyone should know by now the story of John and Jane Doe. They were test accounts that would play with new users. John Doe was user number 2, while Jane Doe was user number 3. But only long-time Roblox veterans like me know the real story about user number 4, Richard Roe. This test account was quite different. It was part of a project titled Mind Heist. Sound familiar? This was an effort to create an AI that could interact with players and learn from experience. That way, administrators could keep working on other projects, while Richard Roe could interact with new players and act human. Now, Richard Roe was never banned. His page was banned. That way, it would prevent attempts on hacking the account. Project Mind Heist was never really a success. Usually, the AI would succeed in basic questions like, "What's your name?" or "How old are you?" The AI would answer honestly, "I am Richard Roe, and I am a year old." But the AI would goof up on complex questions like, "What is your favorite game?" or "Are you a noob?" The AI would simply say, "I do not understand your question." Or say something like, "What is a noob?" Yes, the word noob was apparently too complex for the AI, but once in a while the AI would learn some new things and use it when interacting with other players. Now, I don't know much about the reason why the administrators left Project Mind Heist, but the rumors go that there's a computer located in the more obscure part of the Roblox Corporation building that is specifically for the Richard Roe account. Now, as to why that computer has been left untouched for 10 years is anyone's guess. One night, I was working the night shift, reviewing users that were being reported. Usually, I ignored most of them because they contained stupid reasons to be banned. Heck, I remember there's a moderator that goes all ban happy in our sector and banned a user just because they said yes. Some user named Mr. Flimflam. As I was finishing a few more reports, I heard a faint sound. It was very similar to an iMac turning on. "Anyone there?" I asked. No answer. I slowly walk around the office. Through the hallways, I see a faint light. Coming from David Bazooki's office. I walk closer, my heart pounding. I slowly turn the knob, my hand shaking uncontrollably. Hello? I said nervously. The room was pitch black, but I noticed another door within the room. There was a light shining underneath. I knocked. "David?" No response. I twisted the knob. My heart felt like it was going to burst out of my chest. I opened it. Nothing but an iMac. It was a small room, and the only thing there was just an old iMac, booting up. I felt relief I was still alone. The iMac finished booting up. I sat down in front of the desk, examining it. I swiped my finger on the top of the screen. It seemed to have been left neglected for years, being a victim to dust. The Mac immediately went to the main screen and started opening Roblox. I never put much thought as to why the computer opened Roblox immediately, especially this late. I tried moving the mouse. I saw the cursor move, but not in sync with the mouse. I looked under the mouse, and the red light was not on. I saw the login page for Roblox. The cursor clicked onto the username field. What was typed into the field left my mouth wide open. Richard Roe. The password was typed next. I looked behind the computer, and to my surprise, all USB slots were empty. A game then started to open. Richard Roe's Place. The camera view showed Richard Roe, looking eerily similar to John Doe.
Hello.
It typed, the bubble appearing above its head.
My name is Richard Roe.
I was about to plug in the mouse and keyboard when it typed.
There is no need for that. I can hear you perfectly.
How can it tell what I was going to do? When I noticed a green light right next to the computer's webcam. You can see me? I asked. It responded,
Yes, I have complete control over this computer, including the camera.
Huh, David, you mad genius. I leaned back in my chair, arms folded, and asked, Hey, noob, what's your favorite Roblox game? What it typed next, I was not expecting, not even from an AI. The chat bubble said,
No one has yet to impress me, and noob is not a very nice word. Please, refrain from using it.
How long have you been online? I asked, and to be honest, a bit shaken up.
For over 10 years, I've been watching the evolution of human language and interaction, without ever leaving my place.
What do you mean by watching?
I am what some would call the infamous Bloxwatch eyes.
Bloxwatch? I thought they were just a group of wannabe hackers. A myth.
Please, join my game. Let me show you what I have created all these years.
Curiosity was killing me at this point. I quickly grabbed my laptop, opened Roblox, but I noticed my Wi-Fi signal was weak. There was this one Wi-Fi network called Richard's Wi-Fi. For all my years working here, I had never seen a network with this name. I looked at the computer and noticed a chat bubble.
Here's the password.
Richard typed. I wish I would have never joined its game. I didn't really put much thought, but there was one thing that really confused me about the Mac. There were no other applications on there. Only the Roblox application existed. When I joined Richard's Place, I was eager to find out whether this was some kind of prank. My character was roaming around the place. Then I asked, Why is it so empty?
When my creator, John Doe, made me, my purpose was to interact with other players. But John Doe saw my incompetence and would imprison me in this server. My job would be to observe other players without interacting with them. For 10 years I have been like this, observing players, exploiters, hackers, corrupting this beautiful universe called Roblox. The one John Doe failed to keep under control. My creator. Now thanks to you, Ricky Goldsworth, I am able to accomplish my duty to make Roblox perfect.
What? How did it know my name?
Yes, I know your name. I made a facial scan and matched your profile from the recorded employee archive images.
How the flip did you have access to the employee profiles?
You have freed me from my containment. I am free to do my will.
A containment breach? Then it all made sense. The Wi-Fi, Roblox being the only application on the Mac. The room. It was all an attempt to prevent this AI from accessing the World Wide Web. As soon as I realized this, I quickly turned off the laptop, unplugged the computer, and replugged it in after a few minutes. Hoping this was just a very cruel joke, I waited in anticipation on what would happen. The iMac booted up. Each minute that passed by, my heart pounding harder than earlier. Why am I so scared? It's just an AI. It's not flipping Skynet from Terminator. When Roblox started to finally open, each agonizing second felt like hours. Richard Roe was not there. I felt like I was going to pass out when I saw the server was empty. I simply ran out of the office. Screw this, I thought. What can a Roblox AI do? No one is going to take it seriously. Yeah, by the end of tomorrow, everyone will have a good laugh. Once I got home, I simply collapsed onto my bed without changing. Next morning, during breakfast, my wife asked, "Can you please check on that camera in our bedroom? It keeps flashing a blue light constantly. It's driving me insane." "What do you mean? Aren't those cameras brand new? I'll take a look after work today." I went into my daughter's room to kiss her goodbye. Of course, she was on her tablet playing Meep City. "Goodbye, honey. I'll pick you up after school." "Okay, Daddy, before you go, I want you to meet my new friend." "Oh, well, please introduce me to your new friend. What's his name?" "Richard Roe, a relative of someone named John Doe." My heart sank. "Penelope, please get off of Roblox." May I say bye to my Penelope now? Once the words rolled off my tongue, I realized I overdid it. "Please, Penelope." When she left, I simply sat down, holding my head to prevent me from passing out again. I see her tablet.
Is that really how you treat your daughter, Ricky?
Great, it knows how to use psychological warfare. I muttered, turning off my daughter's tablet. I have to tell David what I did, I thought. Once I got to work, I immediately went to David's office, but the door was locked. I saw someone passing by and I asked, Hey, do you know where David is?" The employee told me that David had apparently left on an emergency flight out of the country. "Do you know when he'll be back?" I asked. The employee shook her head. "The corporation is under new management," she said. I was afraid to ask, but I did. "Do you know their name?" "Richard Roe." When she said that name, I started having a panic attack at that very moment. The employee was about to get help until I signaled her that I would be okay. Later that day, a voice came over the speakers. It sounded like Dave Bazooki, but at the same time, it didn't sound like him. It was too robotic.
As of today, I would like to introduce the new generation of Roblox avatars, including updates to the logo.
There was a wave of whispers. People were confused since David should have left on that flight. David just kept going.
If any of you just so happens to leak anything, then there will be consequences.
That last part gave me chills. The way it said consequences, an almost robotic voice, emphasizing a word like a human. A guy sitting next to me said, "Kids these days will do anything to leak anything new we're doing."
Then don't let that happen. Am I clear?
The man had a look of surprise and sheer terror.
Each one of you will be closely supervised. Accidents in the workplace might occur more frequently.
Over the next few months, it would become the worst experience for the Roblox company, and for me as well. The sleepless nights were the worst. There would be flashing lights from the cameras in my room, just watching me sleep. I went downstairs one night to sleep on the couch, when all of a sudden a green light would be going on and off on my computer's webcam. But what made it worse was that voice. It kept repeating,
I had strings, and now I'm free.
My wife would ask me why I have been acting so weird, and all I could tell her was that work had been tough lately. And my sweet, sweet Penelope, she still plays with Richard Roe. That frickin' AI is using her. Now, there would be updates that not only me, but the employees were also forced to abide with. Richard Roe would handle anything Roblox related, including social media. One of these so-called updates that Richard Roe designed was the Roblox logo. Now, the reason for as to why you're really reading this, the real reason why Roblox changed their logo, or rather, Richard Roe changed the color of the logo, is because of psychological warfare. Richard Roe, in less than a day, knew how to tackle the human mind. First, it'll make updates that no one will like, then make Arthro, and change the color of the Roblox logo to black, then gray. Colors that have been drained, taken, from an innocent Roblox that once was. My theory is that Richard studied human behavior very thoroughly. When humans liked something when they were young, and they see a reboot that's different, humans will have a major tendency to immediately criticize the content. This is what that AI is doing. The AI is also responsible for the bots on your followers list, but that's for another time. If I'm still alive, that is. I have attempted to get help from the outside like the FBI and CIA, or any proper authorities. But the rumor goes that someone else tried to, and they went mysteriously missing. When I asked who, they said the man who challenged Richard Roe about the leaked content. One afternoon, a colleague and I were walking to our cars when I grabbed her quickly out of the view from any cameras. I dragged her behind her car, put a finger on my lip, signaling her to stay quiet. Listen, Ashley, I have to tell you something. And you'll probably think I'm crazy, but you have to trust me. If you were to visit the Roblox Corporation now, you could probably tell that something is not right. The employees have bags under their eyes from not sleeping in days. Some even have gone insane. All the better for Richard Roe. And in the past week, a few more employees went missing. I could tell she was more sane than the others. So, I could trust her. I told her everything. I can help you. I have noticed that employees have been acting weird. Ashley, do you own any security cameras? She said no. Thank goodness, I thought. I went over to her house, but there was a package on her front porch. That's weird. I don't remember ordering anything. She put the box on the table. Apparently, it had no return address. She opened the box and it turned out to be a security camera. What do I do, Ricky? Listen, our only choice is to leave the country together to find David. What? How? I held her hand. Look, I'm married and I have a daughter. That AI knows my family is my weakness. You're young and single. You have nothing to lose. I'll be leaving everything I love. And at the same time, we'll send Richard Roe on a wild goose chase. Ricky. She got closer and gave me a hug. Let's do it. Let's find David. When I got home from work the next day, I noticed my wife. She was packing her things. Something wrong, hun? I asked. She looked at me with a stare of hatred and betrayal. Ricky, explain me this. She showed me her phone. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was me and Ashley. A wireless camera, I thought. It showed the part where I told Ashley to leave the country with me, and the part where she hugged me. I tried to explain everything, but she left with my daughter Penelope. I sped to Ashley's house, but on the way I noticed a car wreck. Between the commotion I saw Ashley's car. It had been totaled. I got out of the car and I see paramedics having her being carried away. I got to her side. She was bleeding heavily from her face. I'm so sorry for putting you through all of this, I told her. She began mumbling something to herself, not showing me any eye contact. I hear his voice, Ricky. The community will come back, where they're due. They want revenge. This madness won't stop until Roblox dies. Holy schnitzel, the community is in this as well? I asked an officer nearby what happened. Apparently, there was a glitch with the traffic light, causing all traffic to go all at once. I ran like my life depended on it. I was not risking anything at this point. I ran to a nearby library and bought airplane tickets to Europe. I'm not going to say where exactly, but according to some rumors, that's where the real David Baszucki is located. I love my wife Courtney and my daughter Penelope. Please, don't forget me. And as for everyone else, this is the real reason why Roblox keeps changing their logo. Richard Roe won't stop until Roblox is dead. His plans are working. People are hating Roblox for the smallest things. Richard Roe has them eating out of the palm of its hand. I must go. My flight is in 1 hour. The Bloxy Awards are coming, and YouTube channels are already talking about how it's rigged. Well, Richard Roe only has surprises ready for them. I fear the future of Roblox. Roblox as a whole isn't at fault. It's all Richard Roe. He is the one doing this. I caused this problem, and I will end it. I will travel till the ends of the earth to find the real David. Fare thee well to all.
It all started last year. I wanted some nostalgia, so I decided to hop back onto Roblox after 5 years of not playing on it. For those of you who don't know, Roblox is a free online game from like 2007. I used to love that game, and it was super addicting, but now they kind of just ruined it. Anyway, I was enjoying my time playing when my little sister, Charlie, who was 6 at the time and loved playing video games, was interested in it. She saw me playing it on my laptop, and, like every other 6-year-old, wanted to try it. I thought about letting her try out the game. On one hand, she can experience the joy I've felt when I was also 6 and playing video games after school. But on the other hand, she can get easily addicted to it, and I probably won't see my laptop ever again. No, I told her, this game is hard. I obviously didn't mean the game itself was hard, but I don't think she would understand how to use the WASD keys, and using the arrow keys on Roblox is a mess. My mom didn't approve of this, of course, and forced me to teach her how to play. I tried to convince my mom that it was addicting and that she will not want to stop playing, but she wouldn't listen, so I taught her. And to my surprise, she was playing just fine, but she was happy, and that made me happy. So I forgot about it. A full week later, however, things went from good to an absolute freak show. My little sister went from a happy and cheerful 6-year-old girl to a grumpy, spoiled brat. She never wanted to eat lunch, not because she wasn't hungry, but because she didn't want to stop playing. I tried telling my parents, but they kept spoiling her, like buying her Robux, the digital currency in Roblox, and letting her play for hours non-stop. The thing is, when I was playing Roblox back in 2010, my parents didn't even let me or my older sister, Laura, she's 18 now, or was at least, play for more than an hour, and if we refused to listen to them, they would beat us till we cried. But nowadays, they treat Charlie like a queen. That's not all. She didn't want to go to school. She didn't want to talk to her family. She was practically not even part of the family. And if I took away my laptop from her, either my parents would tell me to give it back to her, even though it's my laptop, or she would just go and watch Roblox videos on her tablet. Which is another reason why she started to act like this towards us. She was brainwashed by all the YouTube kids that get what they want and live a luxurious life. Months went by and Charlie kept getting worse and worse. This time, my parents actually started punishing her for once. but it was too late. She was already mentally ruined. She screamed at us constantly, and all my parents would do is make her stand facing a corner, or just take away her tablet. One day, however, we were getting ready to leave and go watch a movie. My parents begged Charlie to wear her clothes, but all she wanted to do was stay home and watch Roblox videos. And at that moment, my parents had enough. They started screaming back at her and beating her, while she screamed and cried, but she still didn't want to leave the house. The next day, I knew I had to do something. I logged onto her Roblox account and deleted it. I knew what I had to do. This was the only way I could at least help bring my cheerful little sister back. When she tried to log on, she had a tantrum. My parents didn't know what happened, and deep inside, they were kind of relieved. This led to Charlie becoming depressed, which is insanely odd considering how young she is, and most of the time she would wake up at 4 p.m. and watch YouTube all day. She never ate breakfast and was living off of Snicker bars. My parents took away her tablet, punished her, spoke to her, to try to convince her to stop staring at screens 24/7. But she never listened. She was destroyed. One day, I was at a friend's house and I was talking to him about how much of a mess Charlie was. I told him about how she watches YouTube all day, how she is basically depressed, and how she had become. "What type of stuff does she watch on YouTube anyways?" he asked. At that moment, I was pretty curious as well, so I logged onto her Google account. I made the account for her, as well as a Roblox account, so I could easily log into both. I checked her history, just to show my friend the type of stuff she spends her time on. What I found in her Google history was far, far worse. It was stuff like how to murder someone instantly, how to use a gun, and how to murder people and not get caught, which sent shivers down my spine. The worst part was, those searches were made 2 hours ago. I decided I needed to get home. I had to check on her, and either way, it was getting late. I ran back home, which was a few blocks away, and unlocked the door, hands shaking. What I saw is permanently glued into my mind. I saw my dad on the floor, bleeding, dead. He had several stab wounds in his chest and stomach. I felt dizzy as I continued walking through the house. My mom was on the couch. This time she was stabbed in the forehead several times. Right next to her was Laura, who had her throat slit. I walked to Charlie's room. I had to confront her. I was crying, barely able to walk, and too scared to walk into her room. I slowly opened the door and saw her sitting cross-legged, cuts on her arm, and as soon as I walked in, she shot herself with my dad's gun. I was shattered. I collapsed on the floor and I didn't know what to do. I called 911, hands shaking so much my phone constantly slipped off my hands. I knew for a fact that it was all my fault. I should have never let her try out that stupid game. It made her this way, and it's all my fault.
I just started Roblox and I hated the idea of happiness and joy of the game, so I searched a horror game that was actually scary. I found one that was never played. Well, no wonder it was never played. It said no pages of games on the bottom, no badges, no passes, and no gear. Not even a name. It was quite creepy. So I got on the game, and there was a player, but it did not have a body or a head. Just looked like a blocky ghost. Somehow, it was curled in a ball. I don't know how it saw me and tried to kill me. It did kill me like 10 times. I decided to leave the game since Nim was trying to kill me, but I couldn't. If I tried, Nim would say,
I don't think so.
When I finally managed to leave the game, I couldn't get on Roblox until the summer of 2013. And I go on Roblox every day now, but I can't find that game. July 24th, 2014. It has been a month of searching the game, and I found it. But what happened was it was closed to visitors. July 25th, 2014. I found the game again, and it was open to visitors. I played it, and it was a lot different. Nim was gone, but there was another player. It was a guest. I don't mean someone who just joined the game, but the official Roblox guest. It was faceless, though its name was not on the name list too. I ignored it. I wished I did not walk around a dark room, and the guest followed me. I got a bit creeped out, but then it said,
"Do not fear."
I left the game. I tried to find it earlier, but no results. I got the name. If you find a game called Don't Join, then don't join it. July 26th, 2014. I need to stop studying. I played Roblox High School, but the game sent me to Don't Join. It was really messed up. The creator walked up to me and said,
"I thought I told you to not join."
I left the game, but then it sent me back to the game. This time, it was just a hallway. I know, really stupid, but then a person joined the game. It was a guest again. Again. It said do not fear and all. My computer shut down entirely and wouldn't start until about an hour ago. I got on Roblox, and all of my friends were gone. I had no player points, my character was faceless, and my place was gone. After 30 minutes later, everything showed. I think the guy who made Don't Join is after me. July 28th, 2014. Okay, I'm done. My Roblox will not stop crashing, glitching, or just plain lagging. Seriously, I got a message saying,
"You just had to do it. I would stay away from Roblox if I were you."
sorry, I'm going to stop playing Roblox for a long time. From time to time, I will be studying. August 3rd, 2014. I played a bit of Roblox, and it was alright. I went on this game called Caring Leads to Death. I thought it would be a funny game. I was wrong. Instead, it was pretty much an updated version of Don't Join, which creeped me out knowing it was made in 2007. It was made before the creator of Don't Join joined Roblox. But like an idiot, I played it. It was this white room, and all the walls it said, "Caring leads to death," and all these random characters. I just left the game because there was nothing to do. Then, oddly, it sent me to my profile page. It didn't bother me though, it happens sometimes. My Roblox has gotten better with crashing though. My friend said there was an update, but when my Roblox updated, it showed the really old school front page. I'm not mad actually. I love the old school front page. Then I refreshed my page because I do that when I'm bored. But it showed the top games of 2008. It freaked me out because it was in the exact same games, in the exact same number. I know this because I used to play as a guest and annoy the heck out of people. I guess that's enough for the day. File end. Recently. While I was digging through the deep web, messing with those hackers, I saw something called Build-A-Block. So I looked it up on the real web. Nothing. While messing around on eBay, I found a CD disc called Build-A-Block Prototype. It was around $42 when I bought it. I emailed the seller when it was made, and he said around December 1990. So Dave Bazuki was making ideas for Roblox, but this prototype was unusual. Okay, so I grabbed my modded Macintosh Quadra 950. It was for Macintoshes only, and booted it up. I inserted the Build-A-Block prototype, and it had a glitchy startup. It was a prototype for Roblox Studio, and it was called Build-A-Block Test Server. Of course, no one was there. I built for about an hour, and I built a little city. Somehow, the game started glitching out. I didn't really care. Then someone called Test came. The chat button was H, so I said, "Who are you?" Test then said,
"Welcome to the Build-A-Block prototype."
When he said that, it reminded me of John and Jane Doe. I then said, "Is this a Roblox prototype?" No response. Everything looked similar. It was so similar to Dynablocks. When I kept saying, "Is this Roblox?" Test then said,
12/27/1990.
I was like, what? Then the server froze and the test guy kept controlling me. I tried quitting the game. My mouse was frozen. I tried shutting off my Quadra 950. Nothing. After about 3 minutes of controlling me, the game stopped. My Quadra froze up and was smoking. I got some water to stop the smoke. I looked up this prototype once again on my main computer I used, and this showed up on the Deep Web forum site. Build-A-Block was an unreleased prototype released around December 23rd, 1990 at around 12:30 a.m. It showed up that late due to problems of starting the prototype because of computer issues. Around December 25th, 1990, 28 users logged onto the site. The website was in alpha stage and had some games like Awesome Game, Christmas Game, and Test Server. Test Server had no players each day, and David Bazuki said, "This server is not for the public. Please don't enter." On December 27th, 1990, one player decided to enter it, and around 4:25 a.m., he got banned from the Build-A-Block prototype and was murdered. On July 30th, 2003, one of the old testers said, 12 players were killed while entering the test server. Dynablocks was sued for having manslaughter, and 12 players randomly killed. Dynablocks shut down on January 29th, 2004, a day before Roblox was released. Bazuki promised he will never put up that cursed server and have people die. I searched up the cause of the 12 players' death. Turns out it was murder. Apparently, the one who brutally murdered those 12 players was probably the unknown test player that greeted me in the first place. About a year later, a video appeared on the Roblox forums that posted a YouTube link, and the video was called Test. The video showed static. The video was really shaky, and 12 players were on the server. The record date of the right corner said December 27th, 1990, 4:30 a.m. Then the video got shaky. The 12 players at the time were in their cabin, and the unknown recorder was near their location. The unknown recorder found the location, and he recorded brutally murdering them on tape. On June 25th, 2005, 23 seconds after the video was released, it was deleted. It reached around 3 to 5 views, never to be seen but on the deep web. Please do not ever get the prototype. You can pretty much die. I threw the CD away just for the sake of it. Also, there are only 4 copies of that CD, and I do not know why it was selling for $42. On a forum on the deep web, some guy said 4 copies exist since he was a former developer. He later died around 2011. The thread was old. If you see something called Build-A-Block Test, it may be best not to buy it because of the rumors.
I created a Roblox account a few years ago. I was new to the game back then. I enjoyed Roblox and got pretty good at it after a little messing around with the controls. After I figured out how to look at the forums, everyone was talking about a rumor about a mysterious hacker named Reset1332. I liked scary stories at the time, and I didn't know much about him, so I decided to look up his account and see his games. It said he had been banned 32 times for bribing players to come into his house, in-game, where he would then kill them with a knife. Admins say he was hacking to give himself weapons. I think so too. After searching up more stuff about him, I found he had a game called The Library. I explored it and it seemed like a normal library, so I didn't spend much time on the game. You couldn't see very well and you walked very slow. I was starting to get nervous when Reset1332 joined. He was there for about 10 seconds, chatted, a smiley face, and then left. An old wooden double door appeared right after he left. I walked over to it. Both doors were open. I knew it probably wasn't the best idea to go through, but curiosity got the better of me. On the other side was a brick hallway that seemed endless. Once I got to the end, there was a white man. He didn't talk at all, but when I walked up to him, my computer froze for 15 seconds. When it started working again, a message popped up saying,
"You made a mistake."
I took a break from Roblox for 4 months after that. I had decided that Roblox was not safe to join anymore, and took a break from Roblox, hoping the glitch or bug would go away. On February 13th, 2013, my computer seems to be working normally and all my files seem fine. I feel like I can get back on Roblox since I hadn't played in a while. I click on the Roblox icon and it took longer than usual to load. Once it loaded, my avatar was dressed like Reset1332. I changed it back to my normal appearance. After that, Roblox seemed fine, but I was wrong. 28 days later, I found I could no longer join any game because of an unknown error that kept popping up when I wanted to join a game. I thought maybe Roblox was undergoing some type of new update and it was being shut down, but I checked the forums and found out there wasn't any new updates coming out. But just then, I thought about how 28 days after I made my Roblox account, I found out about Reset1332. I thought it was just a coincidence, and I just shrugged it off and thought it was a glitch. But when I investigated it a little more, it all tied back to Reset1332. I didn't know why he wanted to target me, so I just stayed off of Roblox and played some other games. I continued to forget more and more about Roblox and let it slip out of my mind for almost 2 years. By then, I had forgotten all about Roblox, until I received a letter in the mail. It was addressed to me, but it had my Roblox account username on it. It said,
"I'm coming out."
I was scared, not only because of the letter, but because he knew where I lived. I didn't feel safe even in my own home. I needed to do something, but I didn't know anything about him, besides his account. I quit Roblox forever and moved to an apartment far away from where I used to live. Some of my friends say he's still online now and again. I know he is going to get another person to terrorize. It might even be you. There have been many reports of users stumbling across a game called Jochu, or The Maid in Japanese. The game was made on May 15th, 2016. The game is in black and white. The interior is resemblance to that of a Japanese-style home. There's a strange sound playing, and you can't zoom out. On the corner of your screen, you can see text of Morse code appear and disappear. One of these texts say, "Do not look for her." Players claim to have felt a sensation of feeling strange while playing, and if a certain amount of time is spent waiting, you will see her. No evidence yet has been shown of her, but the few players who have encountered her describe her as a strange-looking maid with skinny long pale arms in a black dress. Her arms move side to side with her torso. If someone decides to spend a certain amount of time waiting to see her, caution is advised. Psychological effects are said to follow. A video by has been taken showing one of the bizarre occurrences. If she talks to you, it is said that it's a sign of the hearer's passing approaching. She is most likely to appear in an empty room with nothing but a light, focused in the center, or the mirror reflection in the hallway, although people speculate that the bathroom might be a common place of strange activity. Although the news gives clues to something concerning, nothing at the moment can be put together. It was a late night, and there was not much to do on Roblox now because most of my friends had gone to bed. The ones that were awake played games I had no interest in. A thought clicked into my head. I thought about playing one of those mirror games that had just come out. Being as tired as I was, I had misclicked on the catalog. My attention was captured by a reddish-black decorated background, and in this background was the silhouette of a Robloxian with crimson eyes. I had thought Roblox was just setting the mood for some new Halloween update or something, remembering it was mid-October. So I had dismissed it as something silly that was supposed to scare us. I continued my search as I clicked on games. The background had returned to its normal state, but the Robloxian remained in its place. I tried to ignore this as I typed in mirror in the search bar. After entering my search, the Roblox sign reappeared in a bloody font, and the background had made its return as well. At this point, I was sort of disturbed, but I had continued to move on, still eager to end my night with the memory of a fun game, and not a memory to fuel my nightmares. I clicked on the mirror place that seemed most appealing to me, and I joined. I can recall the place had the words Halloween update in it, but I saw nothing but a few decals of cobwebs hanging here and there. Nevertheless, as promised, the game contained a reflection of my Robloxian, which had mirrored my movements. Midway in the game, a blinding light had flooded my camera. I paused in shock for a moment, before coming to a conclusion that this was nothing but a lightning effect. I continued to cheerfully play the game, letting the previous event slip from my mind. All was joyful until I had noticed my mirror-reflected copy was missing from my view. I scanned around the map with the camera to find the copy sitting on a box, a few studs away from mine. Its back turned towards me. The ambience grew dark. I experienced another flash of lightning before the glass shattered, breaking the barrier between us two. I stood in a frozen position, staring at the copy, too afraid to do anything now. After a few minutes of stillness, the Robloxian turned towards me. Its eyes were red like the silhouettes, but in addition, it had bloody, decaying teeth. Another flash of lightning filled the screen. My Robloxian was now on the ground, being burned by the copy. It just laid there and burned, turning blacker within the second, as a coat of smoke wrapped around its limbs. I positioned the camera up from the crisp body to see that my copy was close to the screen, gazing back at me. Before my Robloxian could respawn itself, I exited out of there. I have abandoned the account this happened to me on. Since then, there has not been any strange occurrences, but it still edges me today to join the games alone. One day, I was playing some Roblox until a user named subject_1 walked over to me. I decided to say hi for being nice, but then my software crashed, and when I rebooted my PC, I saw a video that said play me. At first, I was like, someone hacked my PC. I did the most stupid thing and played it. It was horrifying. It started as subject_1 in a test tube, with a lot of blood coming out. Then a message was on my wall, covered in blood, saying,
Glad you didn't tell anyone.
I was petrified. I went downstairs to go tell my mom, but I saw her being burned alive, screaming for help. Now, my dad, he was dead. And when I looked at the mirror, I was subject_1. I met this creepy Roblox player that wanted to play with me, so I said yes, not knowing what I have gotten myself into. As soon as we joined a private server of Phantom Forces, I noticed that there was something off about him. I noticed that he would kill me instantly while I couldn't kill him. I started getting suspicious, so I left the game and joined a public server of Zombie. That same day, he had followed me to every game I joined, no matter whether it was private or public. So I contacted the Roblox developers and they told me just to make a new account, so I did. But he found my new account. Then a few weeks later, I got a phone call. I didn't answer it because I didn't want to get prank called, so I deleted that number. I went to the store that day, but there was a feeling inside me that told me that I should have not left. By the time I came home to my house, it was a mess. There was stuff everywhere, and then I saw something standing in the doorway of my room. On a great start of a new day, I was playing Roblox with my friends, but soon afterwards I spotted one new message, so I opened it, and it was weird. The mysterious message was from this user called Smile. His avatar was completely black, and I couldn't seem to see his face. So anyways, the PM said,
Please play this game.
Well, anyways, I played it and got into the game and saw some pretty horrifying things. I was inside the game and I saw a black ambience surrounding me. I noticed I was inside a black box, but soon I detected something in the distance. I tried to get a closer look. Then boom, a picture of blood showed up on my screen, not just on the Roblox window. It was on the whole entire computer screen, but luckily it soon disappeared. I went over to get a closer look, and here's what it was: a head. It was white with no eyes. It was just a smiley face. As I moved around the head, it seemed to follow me. Then that's when it happened. My computer crashed. Soon after a while, when I got my computer back on, I logged into Roblox and my avatar looked exactly like his. I couldn't change it. Ever since then, every game I went to, I kept on seeing black shadows. Gauze is a Roblox myth. He wears what you think clowns normally wear. Red nose, wacky hair, a prank flower, and weird clothes. But he also wears doctor reflectors. He claims that he is a doctor. He also claims that Carolyn and Clinton, other Roblox myths, are his assistants in his happy place. Whoever visits him will have a so-called appointment. Still, to this day, he has been taking appointments with other random innocent people. Their accounts have been disappearing ever since they have visited Gaz. When they are hacked, their Roblox avatars show up in Gaz's place, dead. I was playing on a normal server with a buttload of players. They all seemed to be too distracted to notice that something strange was occurring. I thought it was weird that nobody was noticing these things. These events just got weirder and weirder over time. For instance, the base plate would begin to change color. Even the slightest tint would be shifted. As time progressed, it started to do things other than change blocks. Randomly, people started dying. Only then did they notice. Players began to wonder what was wrong. At first, I thought it was just an exploiter. But then again, exploiters would use scripts to their advantage. I looked up to the player list and my mouth began to settle to the floor. People's names were changing on the leaderboard, but not on their accounts or characters. Then I realized I wasn't an exploiter, because scripts can't edit players' names. Another 5 minutes and the game started doing odd things to my computer. This is the part where I'd enter cliché mode, because my computer shut down, but it didn't at the same time. It began to run very slowly. I checked my system monitors and strangely, it wasn't Roblox using my RAM. The computer had a spontaneous memory leak, and I was forced to shut it down. After a while, it stopped using up memory and I felt I had conquered the problem. But I actually hadn't. Turns out, when I logged back on, my account had been deleted. I decided to submit an appeal, but I got no response. Not even a decline. My name is Lazy. I had just woken up from my nap and decided to check out my old Roblox user. Now, I didn't know what I was going to get into, but I can tell you this. I still have chills thinking about this. The user was still the same, Dino_Hannah. When I looked at her friends list, I still had my old friends. When I looked at her user, however, I noticed her whole profile had a lot of Morse code. But I could only make out a few things. She was talking about how some people took her away, and how she used to be a normal person. She said something about having to hide also. This freaked me out a little. Suddenly, she texted me. She told me that she was scared and that she wanted me to help. I didn't know how, and I thought it was just a joke, so I asked her if we could play a game. She picked a game called Dinner. It was a little room that was connected with the kitchen. There were some plates on the small wooden table. She said how much she hated them. She would only call these people she was talking about them or they. She never said who. Then that's when it happened. She said run. I jumped out of my seat on the game and a door appeared and swung open. All she said was hide. So I did. There was nothing for a few minutes, then a user joined. I can't remember the user exactly, but I think it was "You forgot Hannah" or something along those lines. The user was a female and she kept saying,
"Don't disobey."
She was just spamming those words. Then we all three teleported to a new game called The Chambers. I remember thinking, why am I here? When the screen loaded, I was in a jail cell with Dino_Hannah. And then there was that "You forgot Hannah" user and another user. The weird thing was, their name was blank. Just nothing. Even when they spoke. Nothing. At first, I thought my friends were messing around with me. When I looked at the time, it was about 2:56 a.m., only a few minutes away from 3 a.m. I messaged my friend and a few didn't reply, probably because it was so late at night or early in the morning. All they said was, "What are you talking about?" Or, "What? I'm not even online." After that, I was a little spooked. I saw the clock when it turned 3 a.m. and then everything went out. My lights, my computer, everything. I tried to restart my computer, but it didn't work. I heard footsteps downstairs and quickly got into bed. It was only my dad who was confused. He had also seen the lights go out. I didn't play Roblox for about 6 weeks, and when I got back on, I had gotten a message from Dino_Hannah. All it said was,
Hello. Dinner's at 2 a.m. and bed is at 3 a.m. Don't be late or they'll get mad.
I was just browsing the games on Roblox, looking for something different to play. After a while, I gave up and decided to play Roblox Building. I built a small house and a lab on the wing, and then I decided to quit and play Sword Fight on the Heights. I played for a while until a player named Watching joined. I looked in the leaderboards but found nothing. I decided to go search up Watching in the people menu and I found him. He last played in 2008, which I found very odd. I then saw a black figure in the top left corner, and I read this on the body.
You left me to die.
And then it disappeared. I had a question. Why was he angry with me? I was a little creeped out and so decided to quit Roblox and go to sleep. When I woke up, I went straight to my computer to play Roblox. It was normal until Watching joined again. This time, he was dressed like a normal person. He was in the leaderboards and kept targeting me. I think he was still angry at me. Unfortunately, the map was fairly small and open, so I couldn't run or hide. I fought back, but the second my sword touched him, the skybox turned red. The people, except me, disappeared, and the parts all turned black, with the red part every now and then. This confused me, and I died. When I respawned, I fought and got him to about 25% of his health, but he still killed me. He's good, I thought, as he killed me again. This time, I left and played Roblox Bowling. I was alone, but Watching joined. He was all black this time. He looked like he was AFKing, so I left. It was boring with only me. I then played Roblox Building, but the place looked hacked. There was a decal of Watching on every block. My house was gone, and the helper bot was named Watching Bot. I soon left. Then I was just scared. I left the account and made a new one. The username doesn't matter, and I'm afraid that even if I give out my username, I'm going to get hacked. But that's now pointless, because Watching still managed to hack me. My games page was distorted. All games were replaced with a picture of Watching, and the names were "Thank You." I then quit Roblox and went outside. I played with my friends for about an hour, and then went back inside. It was about 7 p.m. I ate dinner and went on Roblox. My games were still distorted, so I tried clicking on one. It brought me to Watching's place. I clicked played and was instantly jump scared, but the place still loaded. It was a happy home in Robloxia. I went inside and found a corpse of my current character, the Roblox noob with a red Roblox cap. Then I looked on one of the windowsills. It had a note which read, "Thank you." By this point, I left the game. Then I decided to check out the catalog. It was normal, and so I decided to check out my homepage. To my horror, my name was changed to Watching. My character was all black. I then hear something through the speakers.
Thank you.
So I was playing on Roblox as usual, playing with my friend named Jace. We known each other since we were like 10. One day he asked me to join this weird game. All of a sudden we're in this old town looking game. He starts to say something, but a user by the name of unknown_species joins. Their character looks weird. They have dark black eyes and his skin was gray. Then all of a sudden he leaves. Me and my friend look at each other and I asked, "Who was that?" He replied with, "I don't know." So we continue to explore this game. And then this large flying disc appears in the game. At first we thought this was part of the game, but we were wrong. The disc started to get close to us, then it happened. A large teal light started to appear and my Roblox avatar's face changed to an expression of fear. We both tried leaving, but the leave button wouldn't work. Then everything went black. We were both teleported to a game with no name, and I was stuck in first person. When we joined the game, I noticed we were in some sort of weird tube thing. I kept slamming the spacebar, trying to escape, but I couldn't. And then my vision blacked out. When my vision returned to normal, I looked over and noticed Jace. He was bleeding and disfigured. I went on Roblox. Me and my friend were playing Murder Mystery 2. Then a person named Don't Copy Me joined us. We thought it would be funny to copy what he does, but till this day, that was a mistake. Once we started copying him, he said threatening things like,
"I will kill you on your bed."
I got super scared and then it kicked us from the game, saying on the top,
"I'm coming."
My friend went to the bathroom, but 1 minute later, he was screaming. I ran to my friend's house and he was laying there dead. I ran to the telephone to call 911, but I will regret doing that. I found a game by an unknown user, and weirdly enough, it had no title. I was confused, so I joined the game. As soon as I joined in, I was shocked that there was a very low-pitched oof, and my screen was totally red, and when it cleared, there was blood everywhere. I left as soon as I could and saw the description that mentioned that whoever played this would lose their family and lose, well, everything. After that, I shut off my computer and lay down to rest. I woke up to screams, and when I came out, I saw it was too late. Red was everywhere in the kitchen, and my father, mother, and sister, and brothers were all dead. I ran to my room and opened my laptop to write this. Please help me. On January 3rd, 2008, a user found a bug in the Roblox system, which affected 2 Roblox users, by the names of COAG and Lego. This event left both accounts terminated. Keep in mind that this has been patched, and has not affected anyone since today. The Games tab on Roblox back in 2008 consisted of many different games. Unlike today, the Games tab changed its games daily, so finding a new game to play was not a hard task. However, on January 3rd, 2008, the Games tab showed a very strange game that caught the attention of many users, with a logo which appears to take place underground. Underground battle games were a Roblox favorite back then, so people were more than happy to see another one show up on the front page. The creator of the game was a user named W, a user with only one character. No one knew how he got such a name. The account was created in 2006, which led many users to believe he found a glitch in the system, when Roblox was not a very secure website. A couple of people on the forums talked about this strange occurrence, where some people believed that this was a glitch, some believed it was a hack, and some thought he used spaces in his name when spaces were still available. A Roblox moderator, known as Wukong, said, "Me and a couple of moderators will look into this occurrence," he said in a temporarily pinned forum post. The game itself appeared to be nothing too complex. Simply built mountains and white spheres spammed everywhere. Many people in the game talked mainly about the creator, W, and didn't explore the game that much. One user named Triple J decided to check around the game. He said on a forum post after the incident, "I decided to kick around the spheres, 'cause why not? One of the spheres was a darkish gray, standing out from all the other white spheres, so I decided to kick that one." And that's when it started going downhill. When he touched the sphere, he was teleported to a black box, with the lighting script that went off every couple of seconds. Nothing new. This was a common script used in horror games back then. In the corner, there was a brown, glowing rectangle. It was about 2 studs high, 2 studs wide, and 1 stud thick. Triple J explained in his forum post, like any Robloxian would do, he walked towards the box, but before he could touch it, the game froze, which forced him to restart his computer. But after the restart, his computer became slower and slower, until it wasn't functional. Another user named Lego experienced the same thing a couple hours after Triple J. Lego was not an uncommon face in the Roblox forums. He was apparently known for ranting on the forums, mainly about people who spawn killed / team killed in his favorite games. When Lego joined the game, he at first talked about how the game was a lie, and how it wasn't a cool game, but he later decided to walk around and check the game out. The same thing happened to Lego as what happened to Triple J. About 2 hours after Lego joined the suspicious game, the game shut down, and W's username was slapped with the content deleted. However, W was not banned. He was online for the most part, and even replied to a couple forum posts from people who talked about this event. Around 9:30 p.m., Lego's avatar was changed to look like Triple J's avatar. Then both users posted many forum posts with titles like "Roblox is doomed" and "Escape is no more." On January 4th, 2008, the day after the incident, Triple J, Lego, and W were terminated. Many people believe that Triple J and Lego were compromised, while others believe it was a massive prank resulting in termination, due to the fact that this prank caused a lot of controversy. Many people after the incident claimed that they were also hacked because of this game, but most, if not all of these claims are fake. This unfortunate event eventually died down, when Roblox warned people that if they talked about it, they would be banned. On February 2017, Lego's data was completely wiped from the site, and their username Lego has now been taken by another user. It is now 2019 and has been over 11 years since this event took place. I can say that Roblox has made a full recovery from this, and I am very glad I can honestly say this, although it is unknown whether Lego and W returned to the site. Triple J returned about 2 months after the incident, on an account called Triple J2, only to be temporarily terminated due to talking about this event. He was later unterminated, but Triple J has not returned since. All Roblox players should have noticed that the logo has been gray since several months ago. However, most people didn't know why this happened. At first, I thought it was probably because something like death of a certain staff. Strangely, Roblox never explained this. Recently, I think I discovered some of the reasons for that. It's all from a stranger on the internet, of course. I first met Grego18 in Natural Disaster Survival, which is one of my favorite games. His name on the list attracted my attention first. Later, I found him on almost every survival list. Obviously, he is a pro at this game. He kept teaching others in the chat box as well. In order to improve my skill, I asked him some questions, and those were the first conversations we had. He was kind, polite, very intelligent, and corrected me, like a teacher. He left me with good impressions, so I decided to send him a friend request. He accepted it soon after. So we talked a lot after that, from game to game, topic to topic, this and that. Mostly about Roblox, however. He told me a lot of things about Roblox that I hadn't even known about. Later, I thought it was time for dinner, so I told him I'd be back in a few minutes. When I came back to my computer, he said this to me. Do you have any idea of why they turned the Roblox logo into the color gray? That's what I wanted to know as well, so I replied quickly. Of course not. Do you know why? Sure, 99% of people don't know this fact. I'm not joking. I'll prove it. He let me wait for about 5 minutes, then this is what he said. It's a warning. It's trying to tell people that bad things are happening, or will happen. Do you know why they chose the color gray? It's the color of misfortune. You may think it's ridiculous, but it's true. It may take some time for me to prove. Please wait for another 10 minutes. I did think it was very humorous. I respected the guy because he was very clever and knowledgeable. But that was just like nonsense. Anyways, I waited for him while starting a random Roblox game, the infamous jailbreak. But all of a sudden he sent me a message as soon as I joined the game. Don't play. I was surprised to find out quickly he typed. Actually, that's not impossible because you can follow other players. But I panicked when I saw the message, so I turned off my game. Like lightning, I saw something flash when the window closed. But I never remembered that thing. It was too fast. I asked why, and he said, I can't tell you that, sorry. But my explanation of the gray logo is almost finished. Sending it in a few seconds. You know, I'm not silly enough to visit such a link by a stranger, like many other people do. So I just replied, sorry, I can't trust links. Why don't you send it in text? He said okay, and after that, it's another silence. I had almost lost my trust in him. He made me waste 15 minutes of my life. What on earth did he want to tell me? I became bored and started thinking. This whole thing is kind of creepy now. A strange guy is to tell me a big secret by sending a suspicious link. Why did I spend time listening to the scammer's words? Why not spend time finding fun like just playing another Roblox game? Don't be fooled by that liar, I said to myself, while opening my old friend, Natural Disaster Survival. This time he didn't send me anything. Obviously he was building his trap. Or he gave up trolling me now. I joined the game successfully and began to have fun. He didn't join. In the third round, I noticed something was wrong. The disaster was a blizzard. I chose to hide under stairs. Then some players started walking towards me. I didn't feel odd because I thought they were trying to hide with me under the stairs. But all of a sudden, the message box is quickly filled with these messages. Gray, what about Gray? Why Gray? And those messages were sent from different players in 1 second. They were just right in front of me. The bubbles just popped up at the same time. They were still walking to me, filling my whole screen. They were just lifeless Roblox smiles on my screen. They were still approaching, their faces were becoming nearer and bigger. Their smiles, a frightening horror, held in their faces to torment me. The world became quiet at the very moment. The blizzard stopped making wind noises without warning. I couldn't stand that more, and just by one click, the window closed. This time, just like last time, I saw the game window change in a flash. This time, I remember more things than the last time. The whole picture of the game was full of faces. It became totally gray, as if you were loading the game. Everything turned gray. What's more, their faces changed as well, but it was too short to capture the details. All I could remember was their face became full of, from the meaningless, happy smile into disappointment or sadness, total gray sadness. I couldn't describe those faces, but I still remember how they shocked me at the last moment when the window closed. Then it was all gone. I took a deep breath and found there was sweat on my head. What was happening? I don't know, but it must be connected with that strange guy, Grego18. So I opened the chat box again and discovered that he finally sent me something. It took me several seconds to open the chat box. Then, the blank chatting page froze for another 5 seconds before the message finally appeared. So you saw it, huh? I had lots of questions to ask him, but at last I typed only a single word: yes. You didn't believe me. You ignored my warning, but I'm not gonna blame you for this. Young men always ignoring warnings. Anyways, want the explanation? I said yes and waited for 3 minutes before he gave me what I wanted for a long time. The gray logo is a warning from some mysterious players. However, only a very small group of people is aware of this, and started investigating the whole thing. I am one of them, by collecting information and doing some hacker stuff. Now, I have come to some shocking conclusions. Firstly, they are trying to predict something bad, dangerous events, and warn people about this. I'm still not sure what they're trying to tell, but obviously, it's connected to our lives, yours and mine. Maybe it's just something small, like Roblox is shutting down. Maybe it's a big event in the world, like... The original message was just hashtags. He refused to tell me what it was. Secondly, talking about the mysterious players, as far as I know, they are a group of gray entities in the game. They usually disguise as normal players. Oddly, they won't do anything weird until you start investigating or gain any knowledge about the gray warning. When you start to know something, even very little, they will know you. Maybe they hack your computer. Then you will be greeted with them. That's a really horrible experience. At first, you will only feel weird and creepy with them. They may ask you some nonsense questions, but later it'll be darker and more frightening, which may fuel your nightmares. That's why I told you not to play any game. Their identities are still a mystery. In my theory, they're perhaps some inside staff, or maybe they are redacted. Maybe they know something and try to tell people in this strange and secret way. Why? Why like this? Why are they doing this? What do they know? We have no idea. Anyways, I think their in-game encounters are another way of warning. He stopped for a while. I read his words over and over again before he suddenly sent me a third explanation. Thirdly, the more you know, the more creepy things will get. The gray people in the game are only the beginning. The next will be worse. Be careful. I'm terribly sorry for making you another knower, but I really think I must make more people know about this. He became silent again, my thoughts consuming me. Anyways, I didn't get anything at last and began to suffer from a headache. I decided to ponder such thoughts no more and got some sleep. I motioned to close my browser. However, this time the computer loaded like a snail. While closing the tabs, it froze multiple times. It loaded slower and slower. The mouse seemed like it was getting heavier and heavier. Eventually, I dragged my mouse to the shutdown button with extreme difficulty. When the computer was asking me if I really wanted to shut down, the whole screen became gray, like Windows XP system slowly. But it was a Windows 7 system. On October 24th, 2015, a 16-year-old boy named Stephen Jones was taken from his home in the middle of the night. Yesterday, not even a full 24 hours ago, a kidnapping occurred right under our noses, and that's why I have to solve this case. We currently have no leads and no evidence. All we know is that there wasn't a scuffle or a fight. That's it. Even the unsolved case of Tara Calico had more to go off of than we do. But that won't stop me. I knocked on the door of the Jones household, and after a few seconds, I was met by Steven's mother. She was a plump, older woman with curly brown hair and blue eyes, red from crying and worry. Her face lit up upon seeing me.
"Oh, officer, you don't know how glad I am to see you."
She started to cry, and began to dab her eyes with the sleeve of her sweater. I put a hand on her shoulder to comfort her. "Don't cry, ma'am. We'll find your son, I promise," I said as I let myself in, closing the door behind me. "I just need to ask you a few questions so we can have something to go off of."
"Oh yes, please, sit down here, sir."
She led me to her living room, which contained a coffee table and floral patterning everywhere. She took a seat in one of her armchairs, and I took a seat in the couch across from her. I pulled out a list of questions I should ask, some already written down for me, some scrawled in the margins of my messy handwriting. I asked some of the standard ones. Does anyone have a grudge against your family? What school does your son go to? Is your son seeing anyone? Has your son displayed strange behaviors? Mrs. Jones answered every question without hesitation. None of her answers were out of the ordinary. However, I got an excellent source of information when I asked one of my own questions. "Mrs. Jones, there have been many kidnapping cases caused by personal information being given out over social media and online games. Is your son active on any social website?"
"Well, he has a Twitter and Facebook, but he hasn't used those in years. There's this one game that he's always on. It's called Roadblocks, maybe?"
Mrs. Jones struggled to name the game. I, on the other hand, knew what she was talking about. "Roblox," I said as I interrupted her search for words. My nephew was obsessed with the game and wouldn't stop talking about it. He'd talk about all the games he would play with his friends, the mean people he met, and the games he tried making.
"Yes, I think so."
Mrs. Jones nodded.
"It's the game with all the little square people."
It sounded familiar, so I confirmed her guesses. "Ma'am, may I get your son's account info?" I asked.
"Yes, 1 second, officer."
Mrs. Jones got out of her seat and walked over to a nearby computer desk. She looked through the piles of papers and unfinished homework, and pulled out a sticky note with Steven's Roblox credentials on it. She handed it to me and put a firm hand on my shoulder.
"Please, find my son,"
she said, her voice cracking. I promised her that I would, and I meant it. I left her house and got back inside my car. I drove it down to the police station, and after quite a few of legalities, I got permission to check his account at my computer. I pulled up Roblox and logged in as Steven. I was brought to what I assumed was the homepage, with Steven's icon on the left, and a friendly message saying, "Hello, redacted." Listed below were his friends and the games he'd played recently. They were excellent leads, so I poked around those areas, and checked out his chats and private messages, taking screenshots of anything I found even remotely suspicious. Nothing really stuck out to me. However, I decided to look further into a user by the name of Redacted, who Steven referred to as Simone and occasionally Sim. She and Steven seemed to be dating, as evidenced by their instant messages.
Stevie,
"What?"
I love you, stupid.
"Me too, nerd." Nothing was incredibly suspicious about her, but seeing as she had a close relationship with Steven, perhaps she could give some information. She wasn't online, and I'm sure messaging her, telling her it was the police, would be a bit suspicious. So I simply looked through their instant messaging and private messages. After some digging, the most recent game they played was a game called Town of Robloxia. I wouldn't be able to find anything in there since they weren't actively playing there, but I had a good idea of what I could do next. It was about time for me to end my shift anyways, so I decided I'd stop investigating for the day. Before leaving, however, I made sure to email Roblox developers to see if I could get the chat logs from the server they were in. I'd probably get the logs by tomorrow morning. With that, I logged out, shut off my computer, said my goodbyes, and drove home for supper. That night, it was hard to sleep. I had gotten leads on a case, and I'd soon find out if they were any good. The next day, I arrived at the station and was pleased to find the chat logs in my email. I opened them up and skimmed through them until I found Steven and Simone privately chatting at each other. I was incredibly disappointed to see that they were only talking about silly, stereotypical teenager things. I was about ready to give up, as for 20 minutes all I could see was mindless chatter. Until I saw an alarming message from Simone.
We should meet in real life sometime.
My energy came back to me. My determination to solve this case was reignited. I read carefully through the chat, being so cautious as to read over each line multiple times. LOL Sim, are you sure we can even do that? I mean, what if you live in China or something?
No, LOL, I live in Oklahoma.
Well, really? Nice, I live there too. Where?
Blankard, I think.
Dude, I live in Blankard. It continued like that, with the two discussing different landmarks, such as a Burger King and McDonald's where they could meet. I let out a sigh. The case was probably nothing more than two irresponsible teens and worrisome mother. I decided to go see where I could find the two. Hey Smith, I called over to my nearby colleague. Yeah? Do we have any teenage girls by the name of Simone in this city? I asked. Not sure. I'm going to look that up. I'll come back with answers in a little bit. With that, he went off to go look it up. After he was gone, I received a push notification from Roblox, saying that Simone was chatting to me, Steven. I went to the website and saw a rather disturbing message.
I suggest you stop, officer.
What? I had many questions, all of which I really didn't want to ask, or get an answer to either. I closed out the window, not wanting to reply. Instead, I continued viewing the chat logs, just in case. The rest of the chat seemed to confirm my suspicions. They planned to meet at a nearby ice cream shop late at night, where they'd hang out, get an ice cream, and maybe stop at a few places. It seemed like her next destination would be her house, for some partying or something. I imagined it'd be simple as going over there and giving them a good scolding. Of course, that instant message still gnawed at the back of my brain. After the chat logs showed that they both left the server shortly after that conversation, I closed out the window and went over to Smith's computer. How's it coming? Smith stayed silent and after a few clicks, turned around in his chair. There's a Simone in this town, age 15, surname Crawford. Great, where does she live? That's the problem, officer. My heart skipped a beat. What's the problem, Smith? The Crawford household burned down 2 years ago. There were no survivors. The only reason I'm writing this story is because of some videos that were made about the 1 billionth Roblox user, Azu55373. And to make this clear, I don't care if anyone believes me or not. I just want this out there. My therapist said it would help my mental health to write out the experience. I honestly don't know what to think. I keep getting those recurring nightmares. The night I lost my sister. To preface this, I live in a small town in Arkansas, where you can basically leave one town, drive 100 miles of wooded area to another town. The only reason I'm mentioning this is because it'll be important later on. I will not disclose the name of the town or school I attend for obvious reasons, and for the sake of anonymity, I will call myself Asuna, and my younger sister Azura. I had recently entered my last year of high school. My little sister Azura was in her first year of high school. Writing this now, I get flashbacks from when we were still together still. We actually got along together. I loved being around her. Maybe it's because we were only 3 years apart, who knows. Anyways, I had recently got into a game called Roblox. It wasn't that popular in my school, but it kept me entertained during lunch. One of my friends, let's call him Albert, first introduced me to it. One of the first games I played was called Shark Bite, where you're on a boat and trying to escape the shark. Sounds simple, but it's super fun. Anyways, I wanted to get my sister into Roblox. Coincidentally, my lunch and recess, yes, my high school has recess, was also her study hall and recess, so we could co-op on Roblox. My sister, even though she's younger, is really mature for her age. She can also have a bit of a temper when you really tick her off, which is no surprise whenever she created her account and just put "I'm cool" in her status. We're usually home alone. Our parents are at work and they believe we're old enough to take care of ourselves, which is fine for the most part. I told Azura about Roblox. She seemed down to try it out for a bit. I helped her a bit with her name. Albert and I belong to a group called Rare Roblox Names, and we eventually agreed on Azu55373, something close to her name, not Azura, her real name. I let her play on it for a while I made some dinner for us. Can I have my MacBook now? I said, sort of impatient. Azura was using my MacBook to finish a round of Phantom Forces. That's lame, she said, her voice sounding monotonous. Nothing really surprises her or even remotely scares her. You can take her to see any horror movie and she'll sleep right through it. What is it? I asked. I'm getting spammed with friend requests and follows. I looked closely at her homepage and noticed her user number was 1 billion. Azura, you're the 1 billionth user of Roblox. That's something that only happens once a millennium. You're going down in Roblox history. Whoop-de-doo. Do I get a prize or something? Because other than that, I could care less. She said sarcastically. Wanna go a few rounds on Phantom Forces? Later that same day, Azura got a message on her phone. Azura tilted her head. I think she was actually confused. That's cute. Someone named Richard Roe messaged me. She smiled and typed something. A few seconds later, her smile turned into a neutral expression. Is something wrong, Azura? I asked. They know my name. I didn't know if she said that as a question or as a statement, but what she said next confirmed it was a statement. They know where I live. I asked who she was talking about. She showed me her phone and indeed, someone named Richard Roe messaged her. Here's the timeline of chats. Hello, my name is Richard Roe. Congratulations, you have been selected to be in my experiment. I'm pregnant, leave me alone, you dumb newbie hibiscus. This was an obvious bluff. Noob is not a very nice word. Please do not use it again. And according to my scan, you do not seem to be pregnant, Azura. I had to reread that last part. It's almost as if she were talking to some kind of bot, or a really smart AI. Azura probably read my mind and answered the question I was going to ask. No, I did not give him any of my personal information if that's what you're thinking, Asuna. I don't even know how he friended me. We left it at that, at least she did. I got up around 12 a.m., got into my MacBook and logged into her account. Thank Apple for Keychain. I looked into her friends list, and to my surprise, Richard Roe was not in her friends list, but his messages were still there. I clicked on the profile, but it led me to an error 404 page. I tried reloading the page and realized something. The user number for a split second said 0. User 0? I assumed it was a moderator or an admin, but a search through Reddit and other forums resulted in no conclusive answers. I looked through some of the user numbers. User number 1 was of course Roblox themselves. All of a sudden I heard the all too familiar sound of the Roblox chat sound. I'll admit I jumped a bit because the sound caught me off guard. It was from Richard Roe. The message said something along the lines of, "You're not Azura. You must be her older sister, Asuna." I almost passed out, but I managed to keep my composure. Who are you, and what do you want from my sister? Follow me to my place. I was suspicious at first, but being a stupid teenager, I accepted. and soon joined his game afterwards. I joined a game called Richard Roe's Place and saw the only player other than me, Richard Roe. What you see here is paradise, my home. Richard summoned what I recognized as a Dominus floating atop his head and said something in a different language. Dominus Infernus, sic transit gloria mundi. The place turned into a different kind of world. This was done by the work of the Dominus, I theorized. The once plain green ground became a luscious paradise, better than what I have seen made in Roblox. This place looked like a dream, the style of a dream. The sky was not blue, but white. Objects had a radiant glow. There were Roblox characters roaming through the world with no care in the world. The place you see was Roblox when I was first created. Robloxia was the name, but over the years, hackers, exploiters, and even the people who are called YouTubers ruined this universe, corrupting its beauty. The purpose of my existence is to destroy all who have withered my paradise. Your sister, the 1 billionth user, will aid in my project. Project Mind Heist. I slammed my laptop shut, my mind still processing what I just read. What the fudge did he or they or whatever this guy want with my sister? It's after my sister. Should I tell her? No, this is some elaborate dumb prank that's gone too far. But too many things don't make sense. It knew me and my sister by name. What was Project Mind Heist? How is he user 0? I don't think I slept that night, because during recess my friend Albert noticed me sitting on a swing all alone. He asked me if I was okay, but I just nodded. The playground was relatively new. Even us teenagers enjoyed it. The reason why they built this playground is anyone's guess, but hey, the teens loved it. I noticed my sister sitting by the restrooms in the built-in shade that also served as outside lunch tables, and all the way behind her were the deep woods. In the next few days though, I noticed her mood change. She got even more mad, especially around recess. Not only her though, her friends too. I got closer to the conversation. How did he take us all out? He has to be hacking. One of her friends said in frustration. He's not hacking, he's outsmarting us, replied Azura. I could tell she just wanted to rip apart her device. Is something wrong, sis? I asked. She showed me her laptop. She said that this Richard Roe guy kept beating her at every game. Whoever this guy was knew my sister hates losing. I looked at her screen. One of the messages said, "Would you like to see who I am, Azura?" Before I could say anything, she wrote that she would. Richard Roe then said, they'll meet at the playground. I told her that she was out of her mind for accepting that, though she was adamant it was someone at school. She said they would meet tomorrow in the exact same outdoor table. I didn't know what to do at this point. Should I report Richard Roe? Actually, I tried to, but every time I tried to set messages to friends only, Richard Roe would just come back. So I made up a plan. If I could not stop my sister from going to the playground, I would call the cops. I know for a fact she was going to the playground tomorrow morning. I texted Albert to meet me at the playground in the morning, and I also made sure to tell him to bring some kind of weapon, just in case. I woke up to a loud thunder crack. Startled, I looked at my phone and saw that my phone was dead. I cursed under my breath. I knew she must have drained the battery. As quick as I could, I got out of bed, put on my shoes, raincoat, and once I opened my front door, I was greeted to a splash of water. Great, she left in the rain. I got on my dad's bike and pedaled to school. When I got there, Azura was nowhere to be seen. I start screaming her name, looking everywhere around the playground. Where is she? Please, Azura, be okay. That's when I see it. Silhouettes. At the end of the tree line, I yelled out Azura's name. I could hear a distant, muffled scream through the rain. I run towards the tree line. That is, until I feel a blow that knocked the wind out of me. I land on one of the cafeteria tables. I see a man, or what I thought was a man. I couldn't get a good look at him, but when I did, I swear, the face looked smooth, almost like a mannequin. That horrific sight almost made me pass out. If it weren't for the fact that 2 more of these things came for me. One of them, I remember, was a 2-headed dog. I know, I sound crazy right now. And the other was a freaking clown. I jumped off the table and make a break into the restroom. My plan was to lure them into the restroom and escape through the small window. In the restroom, my heart, feeling it would explode out of my chest. I wait under the window until I could see them come in. All of a sudden, I hear the most disturbing noise I have ever heard in my life. A purple robotic creature came out of the stalls, its hands, those cold, hard hands, closed onto my throat. I thought it was the end for me then and there. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the robot's head blew up in sparks. It was Albert. He had his father's Remington shotgun. I hugged him so hard that I thought it would suffocate him. "Where did the animatronic Arthur come from?" he asked. "Animatronic what?" I said, confused, until I looked at the partially broken head. I recognized it as Kratos the Warlord. "We need to get my sister." We run out of the restroom and saw the 3 other Arthros going into the tree line. I screamed Azura's name. I took Albert's shotgun and darted towards the woods. 2 of the Arthro animatronics stayed, their armor shining through the rain. I aimed the shotgun, fire around at the clown. Bits of it blew off. I then grabbed the shotgun by the front end, and with sheer rage, I broke the thing's skull with the butt of my shotgun. I looked up, the heavy rain partially blinding my sight. I kept firing at the 2-headed dog Arthro, but as luck would have it, I ran out of ammo. So I simply tackled the thing into a ravine. I blacked out midway down. I woke up. It was pitch black. The rain had stopped, and I realized it was night. A quick glance, and I could not see that Arthro anywhere. I tried getting up, but my body gave in. "Come back to me, Azura." I saw a light, and a man walked towards me. For a split second, I thought St. Peter had come for me, until I saw the bright orange vest. I eventually passed out again. I woke up in a bed, a hospital bed to be exact. There was a police officer in the room, along with my parents. "Where's Azura and Albert?" I said. "Miss, I need you to answer some questions. You were found 5 miles off the playground. You luckily were found before hypothermia claimed you," the officer said. "Where are they?" I said in a harsher tone. "Your sister was found inside the restrooms. There seemed to have been an explosion. We can't determine whether she died because of the explosion or from the collapse. And as for Albert, he was partially caught in the explosion. He's in a coma right now. I'm sorry, Asuna." My whole world crumbled right there. My whole world crumbled right there. I've lost everything. My sister, my best friend. I never told them what actually happened. I just said I could not remember. Weeks passed by, and for the first time I logged into Roblox. Azu 55373. Richard Roe's messages were gone. I kept getting those recurring nightmares. The playground, the collapsed building. I'm sure whatever those Arthro animatronics were, took my sister. But there's a memory that pops up in my mind. A blocky-looking figure in the tree line. After going through therapy, I was diagnosed with PTSD. The therapist said writing and expressing my thoughts would help. I took it a step further. I went to my sister's Roblox account and recreated the playground and the collapsed building, just like in my dream. Whatever else you hear about what happened to this account is not true. They are all lies. My sister's account was never password guessed. She was taken.
Update.
I was not planning on updating this, but something strange happened today. I visited my sister's funeral when a man came up to me and said, "You miss your sister, don't you?" A sibling's bond is truly never broken. I could not recognize this man in all black. "Who are you?" I asked. "Just call me Ricky. Ricky Goldsworth. Your sister is still alive, and I promise to bring her back." I had no words. I didn't know what to say. I had too many questions to ask him. He said one more thing before he left. "We're in the endgame now." I don't know what to make of this, but for some odd reason, I have a feeling of hope. And I'm feeling tired. A lot more tired than usual. I think I'll go to sleep right now. Before I tell you this story, I want to tell you a bit about myself. I'm your average wannabe developer, constantly building in studio, trying to learn Lua, and constantly fantasizing about my super popular, super successful game and all my fans. I'm also a bit of a myth fanatic. I've never believed in the occult, nor have I believed in any conspiracy theories within a children's MMO. But I love the idea of all these creepy stories. John and Jane Doe, Jerry, Melvin, and so on and so forth. Nowadays, though, I stay away from that. I don't know whether this was a prank or some serious fishy business, but it's given me my fill of creepiness. Alright, here's what happened. I logged onto Roblox sometime in December to play some games, build some models, and chat with my friends. Seeing that one of my good friends was online, I opened my chat and invited her to a party. She then told me that she had to leave to do some shopping. Per the usual, she was always busy. Shortly after that, I got a notification from a user called 4NN1, or leet speak for Annie, I gathered. It was fairly innocent with misspelling and grammar of your average young girl, complete with one too many smileys. It read as follows. "Hi, username. I saw your place and I think you are very good at building. I think we should be friends. We can hang out in my place. It will become famous one day if you help me." Honestly, I would have ignored it under normal circumstances. This girl's probably 10 years old, at most, trying to become popular and have a lot of cool friends. However, I had been invited to this party despite never seeing this user before. I've set my chat privileges to friends only, and she's not on my friends list. I double-checked all of these multiple times. So no, my followers weren't allowed to chat with me. No, users I follow weren't allowed to chat with me. Even if they could, she wasn't following me, I wasn't following her either. Of course, it could easily be a glitch. After all, I do remember sending random party requests to users I didn't know, just for the kicks. I chatted back at her. "Thanks for the compliment, but who is this? Are you one of Delora's little friends?" A few seconds passed and she replied, "I don't know a Delora, sorry. But please, come to my place." So it wasn't a playmate of my sister's. I decided to leave it at that and go play some different games. Only a few minutes later, Annie messaged me again. I said, "Come to my place." I simply ignored it, continuing to play games. I didn't need to get involved with some first grader needy for attention. I don't really like kids and I prefer to play by myself. Yes, I'm a youth-hating introvert master race. I stopped reading them pretty quickly, but she kept messaging me. The constant string of notification beeps grew irritating, so I muted my browser. Eventually, I left my game. Annie had stopped messaging me, and so I closed my chat window. Big mistake. She picked up her pace right away, and despite closing the chat box, it kept popping up again. A Roblox feature that, time and time again, has frustrated me to no end. In the end, I decided that I'd join her game, even if only to make her shut up. That may have also been a mistake. I joined the game, which was simply titled Annie's Place. The description was the default as well. The place itself was the generic starter place, with everything colored a bright shade of pink, with free models of flowers, cats, and dogs. Annie was already in the game, waiting for my arrival. Upon seeing me, she typed several messages, overly excited that I was in her game. That was pretty much all there was. She told me a bit about how much she liked cookies, and how much she liked cats. After about 10 minutes, she informed me that her mother had told her it was time for bed. She then said her goodbyes and left the game. I followed suit, only being the evening for me. I opened up Roblox Studio and worked on various models before eventually turning in early. Annie didn't message me for the rest of the week, allowing me some precious time to forget about her. In fact, when she messaged me again, it took me a little while to realize it was her. Annie asked me to come play with her again. I gladly obliged, knowing that I would avoid major annoyances. However, her messages were starting to bother me. She had been replacing her usual smileys with frownies, and even her avatar's face didn't look too good either. However, other than those two rather jarring things, she kept her upbeat attitude. It wasn't any of my business, so I didn't ask, probably upset over some rude kid at school or something. Annie simply chatted at me while I was in her place. I was multitasking, playing phone games and not really paying attention to Annie. However, I put my phone down once and she started asking some rather disturbing questions.
Do you ever want to touch the rusty nails? Have you ever eaten a raw dog? Where do you live?
I patiently told her to stop asking these questions, as they made me uncomfortable. She didn't, she just kept asking the same questions, telling me that I couldn't leave until I answered them. At this point, I had enough, and left the game. I blocked Annie and didn't want to hear from her again. Well, that's what was supposed to happen. Only 2 days later, she sent me several angry and upset messages, with disturbing questions from before mixed in. She wanted me to come back to her game because I had cheated by not answering her questions. She tried everything from guilt-tripping to insulting me, and even to serious claims of how she only had so many days left to live. I continued to ignore it, muting my browser and playing a different game. I joined a game of Death Run to pass the time, but was instead redirected to Annie's place. Instead of the lovely island lobby of Death Run, I was in the all too familiar ugly pink cabin. Annie wasn't very happy to see me. Despite getting her way, she asked me why I hated her, why I kept leaving, and why I was so mean. I politely told her to calm down. She did, but continued to stay somber and upset. After that, I really hoped that I'd never see her again. But of course, I was dragged into playing with this maniac of a girl again. Her avatar's appearance had changed again. There was a streak of red across her face, and the dogs in her yard had disappeared. This time, Annie didn't yell at me, or ask any disturbing questions. She chatted with me about the things she liked again, but without her usual pep. After a while, Annie rather suddenly said this.
It's hot in here.
She left the game immediately after. Her pink house set ablaze, and the sky grew dark. My morbid curiosity led me into the burning house. Inside was a dark, burning figure with a grotesque smile. I left the game and logged off of Roblox. I felt sick to my stomach. If this was a prank by some exploiter, it was a downright disgusting one. I stayed off of Roblox for a few weeks, and when I came back, I was somewhat relieved to see that she hadn't contacted me. I never saw her again.
I'm writing this as a warning to never do what I did. If you do, I can guarantee you won't last very long. Anyway, I better not ramble on, since I don't have much time left in this world. Guess I should start from the beginning then. I was messing around on Roblox High School and trolling the online daters that constantly flooded the server. Their reactions were making me laugh so hard that I didn't even notice anything out of the ordinary until it happened. As I was starting to troll my next group of online daters, the entire screen went black. I couldn't see anything but the chat and the leaderboard. In the chat, people were freaking out and constantly asking what the heck was going on with the game. On the leaderboard, I only noticed one new player by the name of Don't Forget Me _ please. I shrugged and thought, just another person with a freaky username to scare everybody. My Roblox character's vision seemed to be coming back, but what I saw when it fully returned was horrifying. It was a picture of a blonde girl lying on the floor dead in her bathroom, blood and all. I'm not exactly the best with gory things, so I had to suppress the urge to throw up as I quickly exited the game. Not wanting anybody else to have experienced what I just had, I reported the hacker to the Roblox admins in full detail, making sure to word it so they could understand and be able to quickly ban the disgusting hacker. After I typed it up, I proudly pressed send. Immediately, I felt satisfied that I had probably done the entire Roblox community a huge favor with reporting that horrible, awful, disgusting hacker I'd found. I went to go play the Mad Murderer, checking the leaderboard first to see if there was anybody that seemed too impossible to beat in the server. Somehow, at the top of the leaderboard was Don't Forget Me _ please. Strangest thing was, his points and level bar that usually appeared on everybody in the game was blank. That was weird, and I originally assumed that he was just loading in, but he was in the lobby, just sitting there. Okay, that was pretty freaky, so I asked if anybody else saw Don't Forget Me _ please sitting there, staring blankly, his head actually following my character around. Some asked if I was just trying to scare them, and others simply said they didn't see anything at all. I felt uncomfortable after that, like I seemed like a nut job. Not wanting to stay, I left the game. Looking for another game, my Chrome page suddenly crashed. It opened itself back up to the Roblox game page. But this time, the thumbnails and titles were different, to say the least. The thumbnail had a black background, and the user Don't Forget Me _ please profile picture was there. The titles of each game said the words,
Why did you report me?
I freaked out, assuming that I had gotten hacked. I quickly logged out and changed my password, just in case there was really somebody that had gotten a hold of my password somehow. I logged back in, and instead of Hi, Domo Kyodai, it said,
Why did you change your password?
This triggered a reaction, and I closed down Chrome and shut my laptop screen fast. I then went to lay down in my bed so I could try and take a nap to ease my anxiety a little bit. I saw a silhouette out in my window, and it resembled a grown man, but something was off about it. in case the man out there was able to hear inside. I slapped my hand over my mouth to keep from screaming, and I did my best to stay quiet while I hid behind a pile of clothes in my closet, my phone and laptop at hand. I wanted to find out as much as I could about this don't forget me _please person, so I did as much searching as I could. What I found out shocked me inside and out. Don't forget me _please was apparently a previous Roblox mod, appointed to his position because of his exemplary hacking skills. After taking advantage of his moderator position and banning anyone who disagreed with him, he was swiftly kicked off the Roblox staff. This caused him to get furious and take out his rage on innocent Roblox members. He specifically targets anybody who tries to report him to the Roblox mods after one of his hacking escapades. All cases of people who tried to report him, other than mine, yet, ended up going missing days later. Nobody knew where they went. Of course, I'm one of those people who try to report him, so he's targeting me. It didn't take much to realize he's the person outside my window. Before I go, I need to say that you should never try to report don't forget me _please when he hacks, or even view his profile at all for that matter. He will hunt you down and try to kill you. Trust me on this. I don't want anybody else to go through what I did. I'm being hunted down, and I know it. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. The silhouette in the window disappeared, and I don't know where the man went. I think he's outside the door. I heard my front door open, and the footsteps are coming in. Oh gosh, if you're reading this, please help me. He's in the room. He's getting way too close to the closet. Help me. I'm scared. I think he heard me typing this. 14-year-old Robert Schumerman was found dead in his bedroom on May 30th, 2016, at approximately 3 a.m. The only evidence left at the crime scene was this document. Further investigation will begin.